Have you ever wondered about ancient knowledge that could change your life? What if there was hidden wisdom from thousands of years ago that could help you understand yourself and the world better? Today, we're going to explore the fascinating world of the emerald tablets and the mysterious figure known as Thoth. Let's start by talking about Thoth. In ancient Egyptian mythology, Thoth was the god of wisdom, writing, and knowledge. He was often shown as a man with the head of an ibis bird or a baboon. The Egyptians believed Thoth gave them the gift of writing and was the keeper of all secret knowledge. But Thoth isn't just an Egyptian figure. Many people connect him to another important character in ancient wisdom traditions, Hermes Trismegistus. This connection is why we sometimes hear about Hermetic wisdom when talking about the emerald tablets. Now, what exactly are these emerald tablets? They're said to be ancient texts that contain powerful secrets about the nature of reality, the universe, and human potential. The story goes that these tablets were written by Thoth himself, encoding his vast knowledge into a form that could be passed down through the ages. The emerald tablets have been a source of mystery and fascination for centuries. Some people believe they're actual physical tablets made of a green stone-like material. Others think they're more of a metaphor for deep spiritual truths. Either way, the ideas found in the emerald tablets have had a big impact on many different traditions of thought. One of the most interesting things about the emerald tablets is the material they're supposedly made of. The tablets are described as being made of a mysterious green substance that's incredibly durable. Some say it's an unknown type of crystal, while others think it might be a special kind of metal alloy. The truth is, we don't really know for sure. This mystery only adds to the allure of the tablets and the wisdom they contain. Let's dive into some of the key teachings from the emerald tablets. At their core, these teachings are about understanding the nature of reality and our place in it. One of the main ideas is that everything in the universe is connected. The physical world we see around us is just one part of a much bigger picture. The tablets talk a lot about the power of the mind. They suggest that our thoughts and beliefs have a real impact on the world around us. This isn't just positive thinking. It's the idea that our consciousness is an active force in shaping reality. One of the most famous concepts from the emerald tablets is the phrase, "as above, so below." This simple statement holds a lot of meaning. It suggests that there are patterns and principles that repeat themselves at all levels of existence. What happens in the cosmos is reflected in our everyday lives, and vice versa. This brings us to the Hermetic principles, which are 7 core ideas found in the teachings of the emerald tablets. These principles offer a framework for understanding how the universe works and our role in it. The first principle is the principle of mentalism. This teaches that everything in the universe is mental, that thoughts and consciousness are the foundation of all reality. Next is the principle of correspondence, which is another way of expressing as above, so below. It states that there are patterns and relationships that exist across all levels of existence. The principle of vibration tells us that everything is in motion, constantly vibrating at different frequencies. This applies to physical objects, emotions, and even thoughts. The principle of polarity teaches that everything has its opposite, but these opposites are really just 2 extremes of the same thing. Think of hot and cold. They're different points on the same scale of temperature. The principle of rhythm states that everything flows in cycles. There are natural rhythms and patterns in all aspects of life in the universe. The principle of cause and effect is pretty straightforward. Every action has a consequence. This principle encourages us to be mindful of our choices and actions. Lastly, the principle of gender teaches that there are masculine and feminine energies in everything. and that balance between these energies is important. These principles might sound abstract, but they can be applied to our everyday lives in practical ways. They offer a perspective on how to approach challenges, make decisions, and understand our experiences. One of the big themes in the Emerald Tablets is the idea of transformation. This is often linked to the concept of alchemy. Now, when most people hear alchemy, they think of trying to turn lead into gold. But in the context of the Emerald Tablets, alchemy is more about personal and spiritual transformation. The tablets talk about a process of refining and purifying oneself, much like how a metal is refined in a furnace. This isn't about physically changing your body, but about developing your mind, spirit, and character. It's a path towards becoming your best self and reaching your highest potential. This idea of transformation ties into the quest for enlightenment that's found in many spiritual traditions. The Emerald Tablets suggest that by understanding and applying their teachings, a person can achieve a higher state of consciousness and a deeper connection with the universe. One of the fascinating things about the Emerald Tablets is the way they use symbolism and hidden knowledge. The teachings aren't always straightforward. They're often presented in metaphors and symbols that need to be decoded. This use of symbolism serves a few purposes. First, it protects the knowledge from those who might misuse it. The idea is that only those who are ready and willing to put in the effort to understand will gain access to the deeper wisdom. Second, the use of symbols and metaphors allows for multiple layers of meaning. As you study and reflect on the teachings, you might find new insights and interpretations over time. This makes the wisdom of the Emerald Tablets a lifelong study for many people. Some of the symbols used in the tablets include references to the sun and moon, different animals, and natural elements like fire and water. Each of these symbols can represent different aspects of human nature, cosmic forces, or stages in the process of personal growth. Decoding these symbols isn't just an intellectual exercise. It's meant to be a transformative process in itself. As you work to understand the deeper meanings, you're also developing your intuition and expanding your way of thinking. Now, you might be wondering how this ancient wisdom applies to our modern world. The truth is, many people find the teachings of the Emerald Tablets surprisingly relevant to contemporary life. In terms of personal growth, the principles we talked about earlier can provide a framework for self-reflection and development. For example, understanding the principle of vibration might help someone become more aware of how their thoughts and emotions affect their overall state of being. The idea that thoughts create reality found in the tablets resonates with many modern approaches to positive psychology and personal development. It encourages people to take responsibility for their mindset and how it shapes their experiences. Some people incorporate the wisdom of the Emerald Tablets into their spiritual practices. This might involve meditation, visualization exercises, or rituals designed to align oneself with the principles described in the tablets. Interestingly, there are even some parallels between the ancient wisdom of the Emerald Tablets and modern scientific understanding. For instance, the idea that everything is in constant motion, the principle of vibration, aligns with what we know about atomic and subatomic particles. The concept of interconnectedness found in the tablets resonates with some interpretations of quantum physics. Of course, it's important to note that the Emerald Tablets aren't scientific documents. They come from a different tradition of knowledge and understanding. But these parallels show how ancient wisdom and modern science can sometimes point towards similar truths, even if they express them in very different ways. As with any ancient text or teaching, the Emerald Tablets have their share of controversies and criticisms. There are ongoing debates among scholars and enthusiasts about various aspects of the tablets. One major point of discussion is the actual origin of the tablets. While tradition attributes them to Thoth, Hermes, Trismegistus, many historians believe they were actually written much later, possibly around the 2nd or 3rd century AD. Some even suggest they might be a compilation of various teachings rather than a single, unified text. There's also debate about the authenticity of the various translations and interpretations of the emerald tablets that exist today. Different versions can vary quite a bit in their content and meaning, which raises questions about how accurately they represent the original teachings. Some critics argue that the teachings of the emerald tablets are too vague or abstract to be practically useful. They suggest that the symbolic language allows for such broad interpretation that people can read almost anything they want into the text. On the other hand, supporters of the emerald tablets argue that this very openness to interpretation is part of their power. They believe that the teachings are meant to be adapted and applied in different ways, depending on the individual and their circumstances. Another point of criticism is the lack of historical evidence for some of the claims made about the tablets. For example, there's no archaeological evidence of the original emerald-colored tablets described in the legends. Despite these controversies, the emerald tablets continue to fascinate people and influence various traditions of thought. Their legacy can be seen in areas as diverse as Western occultism, New Age spirituality, and even some approaches to personal development and self-help. The ideas found in the emerald tablets have influenced many different spiritual and philosophical traditions over the centuries. You can find echoes of their teachings in various forms of mysticism, in some interpretations of alchemy, and in certain schools of esoteric thought. In more recent times, concepts from the emerald tablets have found their way into popular culture. You might come across references to them in books, movies, or TV shows that deal with ancient mysteries or hidden knowledge. The ongoing fascination with the emerald tablet speaks to a human desire to understand the deeper truths of existence. In a world that often feels chaotic and confusing, these ancient teachings offer a sense of order and meaning. They suggest that there are underlying principles to the universe that we can understand and work with. Many people continue to study and reflect on the wisdom of the emerald tablets today. Some approach it from a scholarly perspective, analyzing the historical and cultural context of the teachings. Others engage with it more personally, using the principles as a guide for their own spiritual or personal growth. One of the interesting things about the emerald tablets is how they seem to bridge different ways of understanding the world. They combine elements of spirituality, philosophy, and what we might today call psychology. This multifaceted nature allows people from various backgrounds and belief systems to find something of value in the teachings. As we wrap up our exploration of the emerald tablets and Thoth's wisdom, let's recap some of the key points we've covered. We've learned about Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom, and his connection to the legendary emerald tablets. We've explored the mystery surrounding the tablets themselves, including debates about their origin and the material they're made of. We've delved into some of the core teachings found in the emerald tablets, including the idea of universal connections and the power of the mind. We've looked at the 7 Hermetic principles and how they offer a framework for understanding reality and our place in it. We've discussed the concept of personal and spiritual transformation that's central to the teachings of the emerald tablets. We've also explored how these ancient ideas can be relevant to modern life, influencing everything from personal growth practices to spiritual beliefs. We've acknowledged the controversies and debates surrounding the emerald tablets, including questions about their authenticity and origin. And we've seen how, despite these debates, the tablets continue to fascinate people and influence various traditions of thought. The story of the Emerald Tablets reminds us that the search for wisdom and understanding is a timeless human pursuit. Whether you see these teachings as literal truth, metaphorical wisdom, or simply interesting historical artifacts, they offer a unique perspective on life and the universe. As you go forward from here, you might want to explore some of these ideas further. There are many books and resources available if you're interested in learning more about the Emerald Tablets, Hermetic philosophy, or related topics. Remember, the goal isn't necessarily to accept everything at face value, but to engage critically with these ideas and see how they might enrich your own understanding and life experience. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the fascinating world of the Emerald Tablets and Thoth's wisdom. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep growing.